And go. Hello, everybody. We're back for another video. We've been having internet problems all day long, so like right now. So we're gonna just try and push our way through this and hope it works. So today is going to be Week 6 picks for the NFL. This is actually the first week of buys for a couple teams. We'll get to who's on, well, on bye, I believe, is the Saints, the 49ers, the Falcons, and the Jets. There are four teams on bye this week, which means there'll only be 14 games to pick this week compared to the other games, which would be 16 because there's 32 teams. So while hopefully things get fixed on Sam's end, I'll make a couple announcements. First of all, I apologize for the late uploads on some of the videos last week. Of course, there wasn't even an NFL video last week. I never even got that one out. I don't even think I recorded one of those. So we did not have that. Um, I don't know. Maybe I did put something out for the NFL, but I don't believe I uploaded anything for NFL Week 5. So I'll have to let you know who we picked for those games. So Sam and Stravinsky were both 13-3. I was 11-5. Um, so the games that they got wrong were the Panthers, uh, the Raiders, and the Washington football team. Those were the three games they lost. The ones I lost were Denver, Cleveland, uh, Las Vegas, Carolina, and I'm forgetting one more. Denver, whatever. I lost 5 games. Anyway, so moving on to this one, you can do the math for which games we actually got right. So we move on to this week, which has the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road against the Philly Eagles on Thursday night. I know this Eagle team kind of is trying to turn the page, but the team to turn the page against is not Tampa Bay. Give me the Buccaneers to win this one in Philly on Thursday night. All right, we are back. More internet problems. Surprise. So we have Tampa Bay on the road against Philadelphia. I have Tampa. Sam, what you got?
So for the team now, I will pick Tampa Bay. Because we couldn't hear the first 9 times I picked Tampa Bay. It's a resounding 10 times to pick Tampa Bay. Cannot trust this Eagles team whatsoever. It looked all right against Carolina last week, which now we're seeing the true Carolina team cracks under pressure. And, Tampa Bay has done really well under pressure, and they've done really well most of the season. And Tampa Bay again. It's up in Philly, I believe. So yeah, Tampa Bay.
Yes, it is a Philly game, and the next one is a London game with the Miami Dolphins on the road against the Jackson, Jacksonville Jaguars. Miami has not looked good. They have not. They have been major league below expectations. Honestly, so the Jaguars. They probably. I don't think many people expect them to be 0-5 by this point. But these two teams both have looked very bad. But Jaguars have looked even worse than Miami. So give me the Dolphins to win the second London game of the year.
Yeah, Mitchell earlier before we started the video. Does never get any good NFL games? Because it seems to me that they don't. They got last week. They got the Jets and the Falcons, and this year playing. What the Jets are playing. What the Dolphins are playing. The Lions have been in London.
One time against Atlanta, which we ended up winning that game. Because Atlanta, like typical Atlanta, they had a penalty on themselves and blew their win.
And they were against the Chiefs too. I remember I was at CLC when the Lions were playing the Chiefs one morning. It was a rare occasion I was at Christian church for a morning service, and the Lions played the Chiefs in London.
Really?
Yes, I have a fond memory of this. I remember the Lions
Hmm.
blew it too. So typical of the Lions as well.
Well, yeah, it sounds like them. Anyway, Dolphins,
It was when
Jags.
Alex Smith was on the Chiefs.
Oh. Hmm.
So it was a little while back. But yeah, I got the Dolphins too. I mean, it's just this Jaguars team doesn't look formidable. They had the problems surrounding Urban Meyer and the video that surfaced. If you guys heard about that, I don't
You've been
know.
living under a rock.
Yeah, it's awful for the Jaguars last couple weeks. And I think just running away from their problems in America, going to another country will solve them. Their football problems, no, it will not solve their football problems. They're still a bad team, and they'll lose to the Dolphins this week.
All right, and now we have the 1 o'clock slate for Sunday, starting with the Green Bay Packers on the road against the Chicago Bears. I do not like the Bears' chances for this game at all. Give me the Packers in a wipeout of the Chicago Bears. I don't think the Bears have much of a chance in this one. Packers will blow them out.
Yeah, the only chance really the Bears have is their defense and they're at home, pretty much. Those are the only things they got going for them. Their offense is still flustered, still confused under new management, under new leadership, under Justin Fields' past couple weeks. Still doesn't look like a team that can put up more than 20 points a game against a Packers team we know can put up at least 20 points a game. So yeah, I'm going to take the Packers as well.
All right, and then the next one I think is a pretty simple pick for all of us, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals on the road against the Detroit Lions. Yeah, well, let me just make the pick for us both, and then move on to the next game, right?
Well, all that I want to say is maybe instead of picking who's going to win the Lions games, we should choose how will the Lions lose this game.
For
Will
this
it be a
game, well,
blowout?
we'll just have some like graphic like for the Bengal. For this game, we should have said how many yards will Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow put up on the Lions by themselves.
If Joe Burrow plays, remember he has that throat contusion.
He's expected to
They're
play.
keeping him.
He'll probably play. But even if he
Probably.
doesn't, how many yards does Jamar Chase put on the Lions?
Mm-hmm. Who's the backup quarterback for Cincinnati?
It's the NC State guy. I forget his name. Uh, he's a younger kid. He's like a fourth round pick. Let me look it up. But next game is the Houston Texans on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. I have the Colts. Texans are in disarray. They suck. They're terrible. Indy is not a 1-4 team. They're a lot better than that. Give me the Colts in a home game. They rebound, try to finally get on the right track that how they've been trying to do that all year long.
Yeah, Indianapolis has just had a brutal schedule at the beginning of the year. You got the Ravens this past week. They've had the Rams. They've had just a bunch of tough games, and it's not like they've been blown out in those games either. They've played close games with all those teams. They just haven't had the right play calling really towards the end there, especially towards the end of that Ravens game there. It's been really tough on the Colts first 5 weeks. But yeah, this team is so much more talented than the Texans and should pick up their first win at home. Lucas Oil.
All right, and the backup quarterback for the Bengals is Brandon Allen. He's a quarterback from NC State. I think that's the NC State quarterback. No, it's not. I'm sorry, I lied. It's not the NC State quarterback, but Brandon Allen is the backup for the Bengals. And our next game is, oh my gosh, another really easy one. The LA Rams on the road against the New York Giants. Giants have been terrible. And even though it is a road game for the Rams, this Giant team still is bad. They're going to lose this game. Bad. Give me the Rams in a blowout.
Rams should handle the Giants. I only say should because the Giants do have that one win against the Saints on the road, which I don't even know. So I still don't know what the Saints are.
Well, also take into note for the Giant team, they have no Kenny Galladay, no Daniel Jones, no Saquon Barkley. All three of those guys are gone.
That means they'll probably do better, right?
Maybe, who knows?
Who knows? No, they just really need to change the coaching, clearly. But that'll come mid to late season if it does come for the Giants. But for the Rams, Stafford is just gonna do what he wants, give him another good pickup game for him, and good Pat Stafford. I remember that's what some people would call him up here in Detroit. So he'll definitely be able to pad his stats against the Giants team. Yep, give me the Rams.
It makes me mad that the Giants are 1-4 because that entire division. I hate the Cowboys. I hate the football team, and I'm not an Eagles fan. The Giants are about the only team in that division that I really care. That I have any kind of that I don't really have any kind of a disdain towards. And they just suck so bad. I'm like anybody. The Giants, please. It's Giants win the division. I hate everybody else in that division. Anyway, um, Kansas City Chiefs on the road against the Washington football team. Teams as I was saying, I despise. I really do. I can't stand Washington. So this Washington team is in complete disarray, and the Chiefs have not been great this season, but they're a much better team than Washington. I think the Chiefs win this one pretty handily.
Yeah, nothing really to disagree with there. The Chiefs need to limit their turnovers. Something Washington thrives on is the turnover game. And as long as the Chiefs are maybe play a little bit more conservatively, not try to force everything down the field, they'll try to get a big lead early, but if they can just establish themselves, establish what they have been, who they are, and not have an identity crisis against the football team, which has an identity crisis with their name, clearly. As long as they're able to just establish the run, let Patrick Mahomes be Patrick Mahomes, and it's Patrick Mahomes versus Taylor Heineke, and it should be relatively easy game. Not the easiest, but because it is on the road, but relatively easy game for the Chiefs to win in DC.
All right.
In DC. It's in Landover, Maryland. Sorry, close to DC.
All right, and next one is the Minnesota Vikings on the road against the Carolina Panthers. Vikings gain their second win of the year against guess who? The Detroit Lions, and the Panthers losing two straight now. Good game against the Dallas Cowboys. Nothing to be ashamed of there, but then lost to the Eagles. This Panther team is reeling right now, and the Vikings are trying to get themselves back. I think this is a 50-50 game because I think the Vikings are finally beginning to look like themselves, and the Panthers are looking like they're a team coming back down to earth. But I think this Panther team, they've made some additions. It's time they start to show. I think this Viking team is a little bit maybe overmatched in this game. The Vikings, it depends on if Dalvin Cook plays, if Cook plays, and if McCaffrey plays. McCaffrey obviously is a huge part of this Carolina team. As when he got hurt, basically, he's been hurt these past 2 weeks, and they've lost these past 2 weeks. So, honestly, I think this game is totally dependent on if McCaffrey slash Dalvin Cook both play. If they both play, it's going to be a war. If one plays and the other doesn't, I think whichever team has their guy playing wins. If neither of them plays, well, who knows? So, my pick is totally dependent on the health of those two running backs, but I'm going with the Panthers, assuming McCaffrey is healthy and maybe Cook is not or is. I don't know. Whatever.
It's interesting to see the quarterback duel of these two teams. Sam Darnold versus Kirk Cousins. I don't know if they've ever played each other before. It seems like
Probably not.
You really just don't know at this point. But it really is a 50-50 ball game. Um, it could go either way. The Panthers have shown that they're able to win early on, but they've been flaking towards the end here. Or the past couple weeks, not the end. Clearly, this is not the end of the season. But the Vikings have shown they can beat porous defenses in Detroit and Seattle. And Carolina's defense really isn't completely porous. It is formidable. It is able to stop.
Your defense is good.
So really, that is the factor here. Vikings only wins that come against porous defenses for me. And obviously it'll come down to the running backs too. But if both of them play or both of them don't play, then it'll come down to the defense. And I think Carolina has a better defense. And I think Carolina's going to get it done. And so we're both picking the underdogs there because Minnesota's the 1-point favorite.
And the Panthers will get back into the win column. Definitely a 50-50 game. But speaking of 50-50 games, how about the LA Chargers on the road, the Los Angeles Chargers on the road against the Baltimore Ravens? Now,
how about flexing this to Sunday night? Sheesh. 1 o'clock.
Oh yeah, well, we'll get to what the Sunday night game is. I don't know why it's a Sunday night game, but the LA Chargers on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. This is a huge matchup. Chargers have been very, very good this season, and same goes for the Ravens after a disappointing Week 1 loss to the Raiders in overtime. They have not lost since, and just made that massive comeback last week against the Indy Colts. And won in overtime. So I think this is, like I said, 50-50 game, goes either way. And I'm going to pull a Stravinsky here. When in doubt, go with the home team. So I'm going to go with the Ravens to sneak away against the Chargers. But I could easily see this going the other direction.
Yeah, this Chargers team, they don't have those penalties against Dallas. They're 5-0 for sure. So both these teams could be 5-0. They're both 4-1. They're both really good teams. The Chargers are legit. They've shown that through the first 5 weeks. They've shown that against the Browns, formidable teams, and the Browns, the Chiefs, the Cowboys. Really, they were in that game right up to the end. And the Ravens have been really good this season. They've beaten the Chiefs. They've beaten. And obviously, you're talking about the massive comeback they had this past Monday. And the fact that it does favor the Ravens. It's the 1 o'clock game. So you got to think about jet lag. You got to think about all the things the Chargers are dealing with. Herbert from Oregon. So all he's used to is the West Coast. So coming into Baltimore, I think it'll come down to a Justin Tucker kick. Honestly. And they'll probably give them the win. So I'm going to go with the Ravens too.
All right, and then speaking of 5-0 teams in the Cleveland Browns, this is starting the late window of Sunday, and we have the Arizona Cardinals, 5-0 team, only undefeated team in the NFL this season so far, on the road against the Cleveland Browns. This is another, I think, 50-50 game. This is one that can go either way. This is going to be a fun one for sure. Cleveland's got a great offense between Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield with Odell. Lots of options on that offense. The defense is coming together. And then for the Cardinals, they've just been outstanding this season. Last week didn't look the greatest against the Niners, but I think the Cardinals. This is one of those games I see going either way, but I think Arizona's team is really coming into its own and is showing a really good Arizona team right now. I think the Cardinals get it done in Cleveland. They get the close win, but again, I could easily see it going the other direction.
Yeah, I think last week was not a great performance for Arizona, especially against a beat-up San Francisco team. Did they have a quarterback, Nick Mullins?
No, their quarterback was, well, there was Trey Lance. I don't know if I think he got hurt. I don't remember.
Who's number 5?
Lance. Lance is
Oh,
5.
that's Lance. That's who I saw most of the game for the 49ers. But they did not look impressive at home against the 49ers. I think the win against the Rams the week before really got them. And so I think they'll get back on track. This will be a close game. This one, they have to lose eventually, so why not lose now to a good team instead of blowing it to a bad team? I mean, there's poor logic. You want to win every single game. Obviously, you want to just have a mentality where I'm going to go 17-0 and nobody's going to stop me. But if this is the game to lose, this is the game to lose now. You're outside of your division. You're outside of your conference. And it doesn't hurt you in the playoff chase. So, if this is the game to lose, this is the game to lose for the Cardinals. Playing a really good Cleveland team on the road who's currently steaming off of a loss against the Chargers. So they know they should have won that game. They just couldn't stop Justin Herbert. And that is, fun fact about that Chargers Brown game. This is the first time in NFL history that a team that scored 40 points or more and didn't commit a turnover lost an NFL game. That's all I got. Browns. I guess Browns though.
All right. Like I said, 50-50 game. It could go either way. But Kyler Murray is looking like a MVP candidate. You got a lot of options on that offensive side of football. Not to mention the defense that's coming into its own. So Arizona is looking like a really dangerous team. Now we have the Las Vegas Raiders on the road against the Denver Broncos. Raiders are in a lot of disarray with issues with John Gruden and all of that mess. And now with him resigning, they have a coaching situation. All that is going to be too much for the Raiders to handle. I think Denver takes advantage and gets the win at home.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the Raiders possibly competing, with the Chiefs and the Chargers for the NFC West in the playoff race that came down to the end. They looked so good over the first 3 weeks against the Ravens, Dolphins, and the Steelers.
Yeah.
But it's just last week against, not last week, a couple weeks ago against the Chargers, they looked pathetic on offense, honestly. I mean, they scored a couple touchdowns in the second half, but they didn't look quite as, the defense didn't look as rambunctious as it did the first 3 weeks. Then they had an absolutely awful performance against the Bears. Not being able to do anything on offense, pretty much just limited completely.
And Carr's hurt, I think, now, isn't he?
No, I don't think so. He's just been talking a lot about John Gruden and transparency and whatever, but he's not hurt. He hurt me mentally, the way he played last week against the Bears. That's what hurt.
He hurt me mentally.
Pretty much, Raiders have so many problems, and if they didn't have such a revolving situation going around them, like a circus show or whatever that's happening in Las Vegas, I would pick them against the Broncos because the Broncos seem like they're a reeling team too. They lost to the Ravens at home, where they did nothing offensively. These both look like two teams that can't really do anything offensively at the moment. But Broncos are at home. They got Mile High Stadium. They'll have it rocking. And pretty much Broncos probably might be a close game, but I think the Broncos pull this one off.
All right, and then we have probably the other game was better, but this is still a fun one. The Dallas Cowboys on the road against the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick taking on Mike McCarthy in Gillette Stadium. Dallas is looking like a fantastic team this season. This is the Dallas I expected last year. But then Dak Prescott got hurt. The defense completely flopped. Now we're seeing the Dallas everybody expected. They're looking like an absolutely terrifying team. They're pretty much rolling over everybody they play. I think they roll over the Patriots here on the road. I think Dallas gets it done. They're really they're on a roll right now.
Yeah, it's Patriots. They had that valiant effort against Tampa Bay. All the emotions, everything was running high from Belichick and the whole team, and they almost beat the Bucks. But then the next week they came back to beat the Texans. But the Cowboys just look like a better team overall in general. They've already got a known quarterback. They've got Ezekiel Elliott. They've got CeeDee Lamb. And you just don't see that on the Patriots side. Those big power star players. They are at home. That'll give them an advantage. Although, actually, might not give them an advantage. Right now, they're 0-3 at home, 2-0 on the road. So,
But their two wins are the Jets and the Texans. So
I mean, they're still 0-3. So the fans do not have much to cheer about, except for Brady coming back. Pretty much, this is going to be a Cowboys win. It might be close, might not, depending on which Patriots defense shows up, inspired or not. But I think Cowboys get it done.
all right, and then the Sunday night game would have been interesting if it wasn't for a injury to a specific quarterback, and now we have the Seattle Seahawks on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I said, this game would have been good if Wilson was healthy. And if Wilson was healthy, I would have taken Seattle. He's not healthy. I don't trust Geno Smith. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers in the home game at Heinz Field, which I actually have been to Heinz Field. Nice field.
Yeah. So was my sister and her husband several times.
Oh.
She made many of the Patriots and Steelers games from the past decade. Those have been really good games. This game will probably not be a good game. The Steelers looks like they are showing signs of getting their offense back. Big Ben proved that there was nothing wrong with his arm, and he could throw last week against the Broncos. And the Seattle, they had a valiant effort against the Rams this week. Geno Smith almost led him back down the field, but he just threw an interception right on the last potential chance for a drive for Seattle. So Geno Smith, that is terrifying
Scary.
about the next 4 to 6 weeks for Seattle at least.
Yeah.
Give me the Steelers at home Sunday night.
Wise decision, young grasshopper.
This next one is a really good one, though, I think.
Oh, it's certainly better than this last one. Oh, yeah, this is a really good one. We have the Monday night is the Buffalo Bills on the road against the Tennessee Titans. Now, Tennessee has looked better. Buffalo is a freaking buzzsaw right now. They have bombed everybody they've been playing. They have been dominant, and I expect them to do more of the same against the Titans, coming off that huge win against the Kansas City Chiefs. Mind you, they went in a hour and a half, basically lightning delay against the Chiefs last week at halftime. They still came out and dominated the Chiefs in the second half, and in Arrowhead. This Buffalo team is good. They're very good. And they might just win the AFC and get to the Super Bowl. So give me the Bills win against the Titans pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. It's usually pretty fun when these two teams match up. Recall, I think it was last year where Derrick Henry just absolutely
abused one of the Bills defenders.
Josh Norman.
Yeah, Josh Norman. Yeah.
He just absolutely pummeled him, took him in the air and just put him right in the ground. Like, that was one of the most memorable moments last year. And I believe that was a Tuesday night game
Yeah, it was a
too.
Tuesday
So
night game
COVID,
because of all the COVID stuff with
yeah,
Titans and
switching around the schedules and everything.
oh yeah,
It was it was wild,
a
but
nightmare is what it was for the
mm-hmm,
NFL.
it really has been it's been a toss-up season, really, for the Titans so far. There's not really been much consistency. They've the teams they've all beaten teams with losing records: the Seahawks, the Colts, and the Jaguars. Um, but and then they've lost to the Jets. I still don't know how that happened. How they lost to the Jets. That one is beyond me. I'm
And then
not
got
sure which
smoked by the Cardinals.
exactly which the Cardinals have shown to be a pretty darn decent team.
Still, they got smoked by the Cardinals.
And that's ready to be smoked by the Cardinals. Um, it's depends on which Tennessee team shows up, honestly. And they've looked iffy here and there, so I just don't know if I could trust them. And like you said, the Bills, they seem like a very, very good team. Like you said, a buzzsaw, pretty much. And they just
The Georgia of the NFL.
the Georgia of the NFL right now. They just didn't have that loss to Pittsburgh at the beginning, that puzzling loss. But the Georgia of the NFL, and I've got Josh Allen, so I'm hoping he's going to have a great week, especially since Russell Wilson was hurt and he's my other quarterback. So, picking the Bills.
Hold on, you have both Wilson and Josh Allen.
And Derek Carr.
No, you wait. You have Wilson you have Wilson and Allen.
Yes.
Is this a 2 quarterback league?
Yes.
Okay, but that's I don't know how you were able to do that, but anyways, that's all we have for this episode. 4 teams on by are right here: the Saints, Falcons, the Jets, and the Niners. They're the 4 teams on by this week. So that is all we have for this week of games. Um, I don't think we'll have any other episodes this week. I think this will be it. We'll do, and well, actually, we might, so actually, I wanted to mention this. I actually never did. So we'll be doing stuff for. I think I already mentioned this, but we're doing stuff for the. We'll be doing stuff for the NBA before the season starts. Maybe I'm not really sure. We'll kind of figure it out as it goes. We might do like power rankings for where we think for like the teams and the divisions or in the conferences or however we want to do it, I guess. And we'll be doing mid-season reviews for the NFL and college football. We'll be doing college football actually. Oh my gosh, we'll be doing college football actually right after this week. So after week 7 has come and gone, we'll do mid-season review for Power 5. And for the NFL, we'll be doing mid-season review after week 9. So that is all we have for this episode. Until next time, adios, everybody.